So the time has come to turn our attention towards text color. And of course, we've seen the color property a few times in the examples we've worked on. But one thing you may have asked all along is, why isn't this property called text color? And that's because color stands for foreground color. And once we set the foreground color, of course, that applies to our text, but it can apply to other things as well. For instance, the borders around our elements. And so color has uses beyond just text. Now, we've also seen color used in the background color. And so background color allows you to color the background of your elements. Now, before we get too into how to use color and background color to affect our text, we should really understand color itself a little more. Because while we've seen color specified as, say, a name, like blue, green, or yellow, we've also seen it specified in a few other ways, like these mysterious hex codes. There's another way, too, we haven't seen yet, which is an Rgb code. And so why would we want to use these complicated-looking ways of specifying color when a name like blue or green would do? Well, if you think about it, in today's devices, there are millions of colors. And while color names are great and convenient, they can't possibly represent all the millions of colors we might want to use in our pages. And these other forms of specifying color are not only concise, but they're very precise in the colors that we can specify. But first things first, let's first understand exactly how color works in a web page. Now, every color on a web page consists of three different components. There's a red component, there's a blue component, and there's a green component. And we mix those together to get all the different colors in our page. And the way this works is, let's say we take 0% red, 100% blue, and 100% green, and we mix those together. Well, then we end up with cyan, or 100% red and 0% blue and 100% green. Well, then we end up with yellow. Or let's say 50% of each of them. Well, then we end up with a gray. And so one thing you might notice is if you've ever mixed paints together, paints tend to get darker as you mix colors together. But when we're mixing color for a display, they get added together and things get brighter. So if we add together 100% of each color, we get white. Or if we add together 0% of each color, well, that's where black comes from. Now, not everything needs to be 0 or 50 or 25% or such round numbers. And that's the power of things like these hex codes we're going to learn, is that we can specify things like 97% red, 9% blue, 42% green. And what does that get us? Well, that gets us Mac Pro Video Orange. So what's so bad about web names again? After all, that seems pretty easy. Well, if we go to Wikipedia and look up web color, what we'll find is there were actually about 16 colors early on that were defined in terms of names. And you can see the names here: white, silver, gray, black. And of course, these are very convenient if that's exactly the color that you need, just to use those to specify your color. More recently, a number of other colors have been added. About another 150, in fact, that you can use in your page. But of course, remembering these colors isn't easy, and looking them up, well, it takes a little bit of time. But the main thing is, again, there are millions of colors, and so the color you want may not map directly to one of these colors. So why be limited? And also, as you'll notice, there's these other codes here, these hex codes and these decimal codes. And these are other ways of specifying color. And if we can crack this code on how these work, we can specify any color we want. And cracking that code is what we'll be doing in the next video.